Eight-year-old Fausta Nalwanga stands out in this class of about 30 pupils. This is how the primary 2 pupil looked just a few years ago, and then shortly after. Looking at her, one would quickly conclude that she was burnt. No, the youngster suffers from a skin condition called vitiligo. By the time she went to school, she already bore a mark. In the last couple of years, she has had to adjust and accept her new reality, and she is coping better than most adults. Fausta lives with her grandmother. Her mother's whereabouts are not known, so her father is comfortable leaving her with his mother as he works to support her.
Akwatibwa wano n'endowooza yagudde nagenda okulaba sibbwa n'ŋŋendako mu ddwaliro e Mulago ne bamuggyako omusaayi ne bamukebera ne batusindika ewa Ndegeya.
When you go to the hospital, they will tell you you have a kind of skin disease which has no cure in most cases because even the cause is kind of unknown. The body starts producing these antibodies towards the normal cells which form the skin color, what we call melanin. So the cells which are involved in forming this melanin are the ones which are being destroyed in the process.
Daphne has had vitiligo for a while now. Contemporaries who have not seen her in about 10 years would never believe she is the same girl they went to school with. One would easily mistake her for an albino, but she is not, and there is a big difference between vitiligo and albinism.
Albino, those are born like that, but this one is just acquired over time.
I was born normal, a dark baby, dark beautiful baby. Yes, but when I was about 13, 14, I developed a small patch on my lip. With time it started enlarging, so it covered the lip. If I knew it was around the neck. So they went on building. The
onset of this disease is just sudden. It's just sudden. It's not like, for example, malaria that you know is caused by mosquito bite. It's just a sudden onset.
Dr. Mbuga explains that vitiligo does not kill, but this doesn't mean it should be overlooked.
Prevention lies in trying to come to the hospital early, and we try to see if you see anything on your skin which is unusual, get a good hospital, get checked out, and probably you can prevent it getting progressive. But there are tests that we can do because we realize besides genetics and environmental factors, there's association with other diseases, especially thyroid diseases. Most of these people have underlying medical conditions.
Like I told you, it affects our hair also, gray, it turns. So now that here...
And then there is Claire. She speaks so warmly and boldly that most people would not believe she carries scars deep within.
Started from my lips and then from my finger. My husband went through a depression, not because he has the condition, but because he is living with a woman who has this condition.
Claire lost her job, and when she did, she searched elsewhere. She speaks of a stellar record as a salesperson, but many doors were shut in her face. And the explanation? A salesperson, they said, was the face of the company, and she was just not presentable enough. But such discrimination is the least of her worries at the moment.
In Uganda, we do not have sunscreens, and where we can find them, it's very expensive, and others are fakes. We can manufacture our own sunscreens in Uganda using Theta Uganda. And then our brothers and sisters from the Albino Association can also be benefit. Yes.
When I do that sunscreen, I get my skin kind of peels, and I get sunburn. Yes, and there are things I can't do. Yes, I can wash, but not with detergent, because it burns and kind of brings wounds.
Dr. Mbuga says about 60,000 Ugandans have vitiligo, and this is the officially recorded number, but the suspicion is that there are many others living with the condition, but not courageous enough to be counted.
Very few men are open about their problems. So we don't know, even if they have it, they tend to hide. But women usually are very sensitive when they see something on their skin. So we see more visits from women and children than men.
There are myths surrounding it. Some Bachiga, who call it Njaba, believe that a person with vitiligo symptoms must have seen a dead leopard and refused or didn't bother to drink the herbs that people who have seen a dead leopard must drink. The Baganda have their own theory as well.
Abalongo bamwokyeza, that the twins have been wronged, or like the gods, the Chiwanuka, the Lubale Chiwanuka. The Baganda like saying Chiwanuka has burnt her. You need to offer sacrifices.
There's a lot of genetic component. Familial association is highly related, but research is still ongoing to prove that. Because they have realized that some people who have it, if you try to follow generations and generations of families, you may find one relative, but it's really hard to prove. But of course there are other environmental factors which are involved. For example, trauma. Maybe if you are involved in an accident, it can trigger emotional stress, can trigger exposure to sun, certain cosmetics. They can also trigger that. And of course, in Uganda, they are looking at a research on mothers, pregnant mothers who don't attend antenatal. There's a theory that that could also contribute if a mother isn't taking folic acid or ferrous sulfate, those drugs they give in the hospital. So we tend to encourage mothers to go for antenatal. That can also help. Maybe in future also do genetic counseling in some families.
Vitiligo is not contagious, and those with the condition know it. But when they walk the streets and take in crude comments from ignorant people, it makes it that much harder to live with it.
To them it's a curse. I'm not presentable to society.
Person like, what did you use? I tell them it's a skin disorder. They don't believe that it is.
The best treatment would be phototherapy. They use radiations to focus on certain areas of the skin which are affected to try to regenerate the dead cells. But you find it's probably in one place in the country. There may not be a definite cure, but there is control. There's control, because if you are able to access this treatment, it can somehow relieve the progression, because like what I said, the destruction is progressive. It can start as a small lesion in a particular part of the body, which later on can be generalized over the entire body. So if we can be able to isolate these people as much early as possible, we can try to slow down the process.
Fausta, Daphne and Claire have to live with the effects of vitiligo, and they have come to terms with it. It might take a while, but they hope the world will learn to accept them as they are and be kind to those who are different, especially when they did not have a choice. Josephine Karunji, NTV.